Has Bengals head coach Zac Taylor lost the locker room? I think it's a reasonable question. My thoughts on that, because the Bengals are not only 4-7, but they are searching for answers in what has been a disappointing season. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. That's a Sports Illustrated site. Please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. And today's video is brought to you by BetUS. You're going to hear from Jamar Chase in just a second. And I'm going to give you some thoughts on what I think is pretty important: culture. Something that Zac Taylor has preached really from day one. And to his credit, he preached culture in 2019 and 2020, and it was a very disappointing stretch for the Bengals. And that culture bled into 21 and 22, where they made it to back-to-back AFC Championship games, where they won the AFC North back-to-back years, where they were one play away from making it to back-to-back Super Bowls. And yet, culture is the topic of today's video, because I do think that the culture has shaken. The culture is moving and not in the right direction. And there are a few reasons why. First of which, when you lose good players, i.e. Jesse Bates, DJ Reader, locker room leaders, and then you replace them with guys that are bad or are playing bad, Geno Stone, Nick Scott, Sheldon Rankins, that takes its toll. And it's hard for the culture to withstand that. And yet I think it did. I think the Bengals culture did withstand that and has withstood that and has been okay. But when you have a guy like Jamar Chase, who's putting up awesome numbers, who didn't get paid this offseason, who I know his teammates wanted to see him get paid and were eyeing that, and you have that mixed with losing at 4-7. Well, now I think we're talking about that culture starting to get shaky. It's on shaky ground right now. And I know this isn't all on Zac Taylor, but I do think that a losing the locker room scenario very much would have fully happened and transpired on Sunday night had the Bengals not rallied in the second half. They rallied back in the second half against the Chargers when they were down 27-6. Had they not done that, I think it would have completely hit the wall. And instead, they rallied. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins made big plays. The defense forced a turnover, forced multiple punts, and it was their last breath of life potentially this season. That's really what it felt like. And they come up short. Evan McPherson misses 2 field goals. And then Jamar Chase afterward, when I asked about Evan, well, he brings up money. And I think he brought up money for very good reason.
He knows to make those kicks. That's why we paid him those bucks, to make those kicks in crunch time.
There's Jamar Chase. Brought up money. Why? Why do you think? Because Jamar wanted to get paid this offseason too. He didn't get paid. Now the price has gone up. He's still probably going to get paid. I would be shocked if he didn't. The Bengals really don't have a choice. But those are the type of things that fester. And you better believe Jamar Chase has thought about that. Why wouldn't he? He's the second biggest star on the Bengals. He is the second most important player on the roster, second most important person in the building. He just is, because he's that good. Well, right now is the best receiver on the planet. That's how he's playing. And so when you have him making those comments, you take notice. And then he's asked about finishing games. The Bengals are 1-6 in close games this year. You're going to hear what Jamar had to say about that. And I'll have more thoughts on what appears to be a locker room that is, again, on shaky ground. That foundation that seems so tough and so strong is starting to get shakier and shakier. A lot of that has to do with Zac Taylor. A lot of it has to do with the front office. We'll continue the conversation coming up next. Today's video is brought to you by BetUS. And yes, the Bengals are on a bye this week, but that doesn't mean that you can't get in on the action with BetUS. Right now, if you go to BetUS.com, use code YouTube150, you'll get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. So you deposit $100, you'll get a 150% bonus. All you have to do is use code YouTube150 and you can wager on the NBA. You can wager on college football. You can wager on the NFL week 12 with the Bengals on a bye. And you can do all of those things with the fastest payouts in the industry with BetUS. So don't delay. Check them out. BetUS.com. Use code YouTube150 to get that 150% bonus and thank us later. It's such an easy site to use. You can check it out, and whether it's NFL, NBA, any sport, they're going to have you covered at BetUS with code YouTube150. Jamar Chase always keeps it honest and is always willing to share, maybe not always willing to share, but is reasonably willing to share that what's on his mind. And he certainly did on Sunday night when asked about Zac Taylor and their ability to finish and their ability to close games. Actually, he wasn't asked about Zac. He was asked about their ability to finish games. And here's the back and forth he had with Paul Dehner Jr. of The Athletic.
We just got to find ways to finish.
Everybody obviously knows you need to do it. What do you do
How do I do it? I don't know. Ask Zach. Ask the coaches. Don't ask me. That's not my job.
to finish?
I play football on the field. I don't call plays for us, so I can't really do nothing.
Do you think that's part of the finishing factor is plays stuff?
I don't know.
Ask Zach. Ask Zach. I'm not the one calling plays. I think that's pretty notable. I really do. And a couple of things here. The first one, he probably wanted to say, yeah, Evan got paid when it should have been me. There's one. And two, as Zach, clearly we're struggling late in games, and I don't know why. But it's his job. It's his job to figure it out. And whether that's right, whether that's wrong, I'm not here to debate that. When stuff like that happens, that's when the culture starts to crumble. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing a Joe Burrow coming to the podium just not broken. Broken's the wrong word, but just searching. Like I think Joe Burrow is Superman. I don't think he can be broken. I think his will is very, very strong, but he's reaching that point where it's just like, what can I do? And I think Jamar Chase feels that way. What else can I do? And naturally, they're going to start looking around. And naturally, you're going to look at the head coach if you're Jamar Chase. And I think that's what that is. I think that's the start of it. Doesn't mean it's going to continue. But when you look at the armor of the culture that is the Cincinnati Bengals, they've been able to absorb trade requests and hold-ins, holdouts, all of those things. But man, oh man, it starts to take its toll when you combine it with losing. So when you're not having success on the field, plus you paid the wrong guys, or you didn't pay guys that you should have paid, and you let guys walk that you should have kept, and you failed to replace them with competent guys, this championship core just feels like it's Joe, Jamar, T, and Trey. And I know there are more guys. You could say BJ and Mike Hilton and, BJ Hill. And I get it. I'm not going to go through the whole roster. But we're starting to get to that point. And that's when things really unravel. And so the Bengals are at the breaking point now. And it's up to Zac Taylor and this coaching staff to find a way to get something out of this team, to get these guys back dialed in what is a must-win game against the Steelers. And that's a tall task because Pittsburgh's going to be playing for a lot. Heck, you could argue that they're playing for the 1 seed in the AFC right now. And so if that's the case, they're going to want to come in motivated, and the Bengals better figure it out. And if they don't, then we're talking about a team, and maybe it would be good. Maybe it would be good for the Bengals to finish with 4 wins or 5 wins. So they get a higher draft pick. What I don't want them to do is go, and maybe there's more to it that I can get into, but you don't want to win 4 out of 6 and be 8-9. That's not what you want to be. You either want to be really bad or you want to be really good. And I don't know if this team has it in them. I don't know if the culture is there. I don't know if the talent is there for this team to rally from a 4-7 hole. Think about it. They started 0-3, and it's like, all right, well, now rally caps. They're 4-4 since. They're 4-4 since starting 0-3. Just a meh football team. Meh isn't going to get it done, and it's crazy because Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are playing anything but meh. Enter the Jungle is tonight. It is report card time, 8 Eastern on Enter the Jungle. Please, please, please join us for that. It's going to be such a fun show. Bengals report card time. And also I'm going to run by my new nickname for Evan McPherson tonight on Enter the Jungle. For Andrew, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.